Welcome to another run through of the 1.2, 1.4, but not your ordinary run through because we have remade this entire 1.2, 1.4. And this didn't come easy. This is 3 years and 11 variations to get where we are today. So this is the standard 1.2, 1.4, but we have completely remade it. So every single feature is different. I mean, literally canvas, mattress, lights, the shell, the extrusions, the corners, every single component, even the mounting rails, like everything, the bolts, everything is different. The bolt sizing, like Rainfly poles, the strap, freaking every component of the tent is different. This tent has served us well for the past 5 years. This is where we came from. Different iterations of this tent. If you doom scroll far enough through our Instagram, you'll see this tent. It didn't even have a side Rainfly on. It was super basic. It didn't have lights in it. We've pioneered literally pretty much everything we've brought to this tent. The solar panel, the roof racks, everything like that. This didn't used to be a thing with rooftop tents. They used to be super basic, standard clamshell, no side parts. They weren't fancy, no frills. But over the years, we've based a lot of our range off this tent here, but working in the background, I've always had a burning desire to do it better. I didn't really think it would take 3 years and 11 different versions, but it did. It even took 4 different manufacturers. 4 different manufacturers, how does that make sense? Aren't they all made in the same factory? Oh, no, they're not actually. We have 4 different manufacturers and we tried to use all of them to remake this tent. So 11 different variations of this tent made in different places. Would you believe it? So where we get this one made now we have an Australian designer on board. We can do it all in-house, send it to where we want, use the big guys, big team, super awesome QC, you wouldn't have seen anything like it, and get it made in this place, just us, our tent. So that is really cool. They look on the surface pretty much like very similar, but that is the point. It is a direct replacement for the 1.2, 1.4. It took 3 years to make this tent better than what it is. So it's a true testament to our original 1.2, 1.4. And if you do have one, you've got to rip a tent. There's a reason it took so long. But we'll close these guys up, start from the start. This is also going to be a walkthrough on this tent. We'll go piece by piece and show you how it all gets assembled, what's included, and we'll also compare what we've changed and why we've changed it from the original platform we've built our business off. So thanks for watching. Grab a beer. Let's do it. Okay, it might be a little bit clearer what's different now that they're both closed up. So straight off the bat, they are the exact same height because this is our slimline model. So we stayed with the same thickness. So these are the ones that I prefer to run on my vehicle. Normally run the slimmer ones. So again, that's why we put so much work into them, because we use them personally and just wanted to make it better. So straight away, we can see there's a completely different corner section. The corner section on this new tent, normally you feed the channel bolts in from the corner. That was just a little bit pesky, so we changed them to the side. So similar to the way we've been doing our Z tents, we tried them on there and had good feedback, and just from personal experience fitting them all the time, we realized it is a lot easier to feed the channel nuts in from the side. So that side extrusion now has a punched hole for the channel nuts to go in. The roof racks, now these were made from a cast aluminium on the old tent. They are very good, but cast aluminium not as strong as stainless steel. So now we have a fully stainless steel folded bracket on the new 1.2, 1.4. The roof rack, the old roof rack, although good, it only had a singular channel on top, and they were a little bit dicky to get accessories in. So you had to feed your channel bolts in before you put your Phillips head bolts through. So a little bit, you had to just pre-plan a little bit more, not the end of the world, but it was a little bit, not as user-friendly. So on the new tent, we've got 2 keyways on top, and we can drop our channel nuts through, which makes life way easier. You can set them and then add stuff later. And these are the same roof racks we've got on our Plus tents as well. So they work really well. They've also got tie-down points on the side, like an extrusion on the side. So if you want to put, tie-down points, what do you call them? Eyelets and whatnot, so you can crisscross ratchet straps and whatnot, then it works really well. So much like all the other tents, you can put one rail on either side of the solar panel, so then you're not restricted to putting surfboards or paddleboards, gazebos, whatnot over the top of the solar panel. So we've always kept these a little bit higher, which we've also done on this new model. This top extrusion now has a bit of a design through it, so because we all have our own extrusions. We put this design through it just to make it look a little bit different. Like this one was a bit basic, just a bit plain. This one here now just looks a lot nicer. It's just the small details you put a little bit more effort into. And then we also put the logos down in the bottom corner, which we've also got the design right on those to do that. So the solar panel brackets. So we originally bought these solar panel brackets out a couple years ago, and these have now been copied more than an 8th grader's math homework. So we have redesigned them to these ones. So that should keep us in front for a bit. We honestly just think, like as good as the triangle design was, we could just refine it a little bit. So same principle with the solar panel. They just come up on a 45 now, and whereas these ones, they didn't really follow. These are great on the X tent and all the other tents because they've got a squarer profile, but these tents here, they sort of have a 45 extrusion, and there's just a bit of a gap here. So instead of just having a gap there, we decided to follow the contour of the roof a little bit more. So that looks really, really neat. Stabilis gas struts now on all the tents. So we went away from this silver gas strut. The reason we kept it for so long is because we just never had any issues with it. It was a good strut, and sometimes if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But these are a lot more user friendly on the new tent because we have a circlip on the side, and you can actually disengage it and pull the strut off and leave the factory position of where your struts are. So if you ever break a strut, you can replace it in a couple of minutes, as opposed to the old tent, you have to mark where it was. You have to use an Allen key, and when you loosen it, there's a risk that you could slide it and scratch the side of the tent. So just working on these tents, having these tents in every corner of this country over the years, we figured and found that these Stabilis struts were a lot more serviceable and a lot easier. So hinges on the front, essentially the exact same thing as what we've got on the original tent. We've just taken the center bolt out and then used Nylox. Personally, just think Nylox is a better solution than the bolt that we originally had. Not that we ever had any problems with it. It was just, looks a lot neater and a little bit different, and yeah, it works well. And then of course, we've done them all in stainless steel. Still have the Rome gear panel. These are now a 2mm frame, which is wild. No one's doing 2mm frames in aluminium. It's just next level. Rome, he puts a 10-year warranty on them, so he wants to make sure that he's not going to get any flexing. I believe, so this one here, this might be like a 1.6. So we're going to get a little bit of movement, whereas the 2, she's pretty bloody rigid. So 2mm frames now. Again, no problems with 1.6, but we always want to do better. And we also keep the price point the same. So we've added all this stuff, but still remained at our price point. So we do our best to bring a better product, but also keep it affordable. For people, you're spending a lot of money, you want to make sure you're getting good quality. So 230 watt panel will be included with your 1.4, and a 200 watt panel included with your 1.2. Another note with the Rome Gear solar panel, this is one of the only true 230 and true 200 watt panel. So this is an unregulated industry. If I wanted to write, this is a 350 watt panel on it, nothing's gonna happen. I'm not gonna get locked up, I'm not gonna go to jail. I can write whatever the hell I want. I can write whatever the hell weight this tent is, no one's gonna look at it. But if you buy from us and you buy from Rome Gear, you will get the actual specifications of the panel. So we're not gonna, you look at some rooftops and they're literally 3/4 of the size and they're saying, this is a 250 watt, this is a 280. No, it's freaking not, man. Like, Rome Gear, trusted brand, like Outback Tour only pairs with trusted brands, trusted resellers, and people who write the correct specifications on their products. You will get 230 watt and you will get 200 watt out of a Rome panel, and that goes across the whole Rome range, and that is why we use them. So if you're trying to work out how much power I need in my setup, you can bank on actually getting that out of them. So it's not made up, it's what you're really gonna get out of these panels. They absolutely pump. This is packed separately on top of your tent. You'll have a Rome Gear box, you can't miss it, it's on the top, it's your solar panel. Your ladder and your fitting kit, which I'll grab in a sec, they are inside another box. So you've got a few different boxes. You have your tent box, you have your ladder box with your fitting kit inside, your solar panel box, and your roof rack box. Your roof racks are also packed separate. So we'll go through how this is all put together now, and then we'll open this tent up and run through a few features and how it all works. Okay, so when you open up your ladder bag, you're going to find this bag here, and this has all your bolts, nuts, and accessories in it. So probably the most important part of the video to pay attention to, this is where you're going to get the most info on how to assemble everything. We'll start with what's in here. So when you've done your roof racks, you've obviously got 4 of these stainless steel brackets. This is the roof rack brackets, and they'll be sort of taped to the roof racks. You'll have your bag of roof rack bolts and channel nuts, and what they look like is, so in this kit we've got 2 different size threads. We've got a 10 mil, and for our solar panel, this is our this one. This is our solar panel nuts and bolts. So they are, so we're not going to confuse these, that's why they're all packed differently, but I'll just show you if for some reason you tip them all on the ground. Here we are. This is what they all do. Your apprentices tipped them all on the ground and you're like, what's this? Anyway, so that's a 10 mil bolt and that's a 12 mil bolt. So for the roof racks, 10 mil. So it's not much between them, but if you put them up side by side, you can tell the difference. So the 10 mil ones, we'll put the 12 mil one back in its home for now. The 10 mil ones, this is what we're going to be using for the roof rack. And for the roof racks, we have 2 different channel nuts, just to confuse you all. That's why we did it. No, it just works better with these roof racks. So we've got this funky looking channel nut, and then we've got just the normal square one. So funky looking one goes in the top through the little keyway, and then the little square ones, they go in the side of the tent to where you want to put the roof rack. So sort of put them in the keyways there in their home, and then the roof rack bracket we're going to install. You can do it one or 2 ways. You can do it the way we've got it on the low setting, or if you want to, you can do it on the high setting. It just depends on how high you want these roof bars, but today we're going to do it on the low setting because it looks a little bit cleaner. So the way we do that, we put those channel nuts in, and then we screw down our bolts like that. And we just sort of leave them loose, so when we're attaching to the side of the tent, we've got a bit of movement. So we don't want to crank them up tight yet. We're going to do them loose and then attach them to the side of the tent. To the side of the tent, same, we've got our 10 mils, and then pretty easy. I'm using my own Allen key, but it does come with an Allen key if you don't have one. And then we just put that in the side and tighten up like so. And then we're going to use our measuring eyes, because my tape measure's not here, to eye where that is straight, and then we'll tighten it up from there. So if you've got some Loctite, bang that on, these ones, and you'll be good to go. I'm not putting Loctite on because this is just sitting in my display room, so it shouldn't get shaken to pieces too far. Okay, solar panel mount. This will be a little bit different. Your solar panel brackets, when you get the tent, they're already installed on the tent. So that makes life really easy. You know exactly where they go and how to mount them. Solar panel brackets, they're the 10 mils again, but they have a spring washer, because if you don't have Loctite, you can use a spring washer, and you really don't want this guy coming off on the highway. So use your spring washers. To mount the solar panel, super easy. You've taken it out of the box and you've laid it out on the cardboard so we don't scratch the tent. It's just like that. So lay it out, and then all we're going to do is sit these solar panel brackets on top. Spanner on the bottom, and this is how you tighten them. So what I used to do, and if you watch my other videos, you'll see that this is how we used to fit it, until recently when we forgot our tape and we were like, damn, we don't have a tape measure now. We can't measure the outside of the tent and measure the brackets to see where they land. So what we do now is we lay the solar panel bracket over the panel, and we just get it firm so we can just move it. Like I'm talking, you've got to knock it in a little bit until it will move. Get them like that, all sides buttoned up, flip the panel over, and then push these solar panel brackets into the side of the tent. So I'll explain what I mean. If I can do it solo, should be all right. So put them on. These are a bit loose, they're not in the right spot, and then we just go from side to side and just knock these in until it's fully against the tent. So when it's fully against the tent, we can flip it back over and we'll tighten it back up, and we know it's going to be in the exact right spot. So imagine we've done that, all good, got it in the right spot, flip this guy back over. And then come over here, tighten them up. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it, if you don't want to do it that way, Although from doing it both ways, I've actually found that that actually works better. The other way is you grab a tape measure, measure the width of the tent, and stick a tape measure on here, measure the width of the brackets, tighten that up. But if you're out by 5 mil, you do notice it and you start getting the brackets bending up a little bit. So doing it the new way that we do seems to work better, but whatever, that's how you do it. So just taking it back a step, to confirm the bolts we're using for the solar panel brackets, it's these 10 mil bolts here with the nylocks inside. We're using those. If you bought a tent with an awning, you'll have a riser plate. A riser plate is this, something we're going to cover later. So the riser plate, however, comes with 16 mil bolts. Do not, under any circumstance, use this 16 mil bolt in the solar panel, because this is a 20 mil solar panel frame, but there's obviously the solar panel in there. So if we stick that guy there, it's sticking up and it's going to bottom out on the frame. If you do that, the second you pick the panel up, if you've ever pushed a sharp edge into glass, it will shatter the panel. So just be careful, make sure we're not using these 16 mils. There's honestly no reason why you should ever, cross-contaminate these bolts. They're all packed separately. This doesn't even come in the tent, doesn't come in the ladder, it comes packed completely separate. So you should never cross-contaminate them, but I only say it because it has happened. And it's not a lot, it's just once or twice. Obviously, you're excited, you pull all the bolts out, mix them around, you're like, yeah, fit my panel, and then bam, it breaks, and then it's my fault. But no, in all seriousness, just the 16 mil bolts, just keep them separate. Use the 10 mils. These ones are the ones that come out the side of the panel when you, the side of the brackets when you pull it off, so you can't really confuse them. All your specifications for the solar panel are on the back of the panel. So before you flip it over and don't remember what the hell this panel does, all your specs are there. On the back of the panel, we've got MC4 connectors. MC4 connectors are an automotive connector that are waterproof. So we use an MC4 connector rather than an Anderson plug because it's just a better way to do it. Like I said, Jared's a professional, so he wants to, use professional items, which is an MC4. If this scares the hell out of you and you don't know what's going on, it's fine. You can, and I give you permission, it's okay. You can cut them off and you can do an Anderson plug. All will be well unless you plug it into the Anderson plug on the bottom of the tent. Do not do that one either. So another reason why we don't put a big lead on these is because we had a few bloody turkeys plugging this panel straight into the bottom of their tent, and it's not good. If you know anything about auto electrical, there's 23 volts here. You're putting that into the bottom of the tent. It's not a good time. Do not do it. So MC4s, we'll run through how to do all the solar further on in the video, but that's it for now. It's enough info to get this mounted back to your tent. All right, so we've got our panel on now, but you still got a whole bunch of parts. We don't know what they do. So let me explain it. This one right here, this is an easy one. This is if you ever get a rip in your tent or anything like a hole, you can patch it. So pretty, just keep that in your glove box. You'd be doing something pretty wrong to ever put a hole in it, but just in case you do, you can actually patch it. So that's that one. This is your mounting gear. Go through that in a sec. Probably the most boring part of the video, we'll put that at the end because I know you just want to bloody rip your mounting rails off anyway and flush mount it. But no, we'll put that at the end. We've got our mounting plate, so again, cover that shortly. I just pulled this off the side of the tent to show you a cool little hack that we figured out not long ago, which was pretty cool. So you've got ladder points on all three sides of the tent. You're probably going to have an awning on one side. You're never going to get up one side. So you're going to have an extra one of these, an extra spare one, and you're also going to have another spare one because when you run the awning, you have to get rid of this latch anyway. So you're going to have two spare ones of these things. And with those, you can actually put them on top and run them as tie-down points. So just a cool little thing. If you wanted to, instead of buying eyelets, relocate these to the top, and you've got a couple of tie-down points. You've also got a bunch of spare bolts because, just in case you lose some or for some reason one gets miscounted, we'll just give you a bag of spares. Some people want to put lights and whatnot on the side. So you'd rather have too many than not enough. So put those in for you. Okay, mounting the awning with the slimline tent. Okay, so if we could preach anything in this whole, Outback tour and everything, we would say if you can mount your awning independently, it is a better job. So what I mean by that is mounting the awning to the supplied stainless steel bracket rather than the side of the tent. Reason being, if you think about it, you're driving down a track, your awning gets hung up on a tree. I was like literally in a car park the other day and I was reversing, big car, and my awning was against the tree and I was like, holy crap. You got to be careful, like they just stick out, you know, you miss them sometimes. But if it's your awning connected to the side of your tent, even wind gets under it and wrecks it, you didn't tie it down or you got caught off guard, and it's connected to the bottom of your tent, the weakest point is the channels of the tent and where it's connected to, and it won't just peel out generally on an aluminium extrusion. It doesn't matter like what it is and how strong you make it, like they're all reinforced and engineered. But at the end of the day, it's only it's the bolt head, that's it. So it can pull, and sometimes it actually pulls, it can pull a square out of the base. Like it can write it off in other instances, like it can do a fair bit of damage. So one of these brackets is $70. I would much prefer people broke a $70 bracket as opposed to a $3.5 grand tent. It's a lot of money. And if you can mount your awning independently, it is always going to be the better job. However, you cannot always do that in every instance. So my canopy, for example, and Christian's, they're tapered at the top. So we've got about 150 mil of overhang of the tent. We physically can't mount the awning to the tent. It's just got too much overhang. Therefore, we have attached our awning to the tent. So we just have to be responsible rooftop tent owners and, you know, just be like, look, my awning's mounted to the tent, therefore I'm going to tie it down, I'm going to be a bit more careful, try not to hit stuff in car parks, even though I did that. But, you know, I know that it's mounted to the tent, so be careful. But if you can't do that, which we do not recommend it on these slimline ones because the base is only this big compared to our big plus and big Z tents. We've got over 100 mil base. There's a lot more meat for that awning bracket to attach to. So you can actually mount it to the tent. So, you know, if you're watching this video and you need to mount the awning to the tent, maybe consider the bigger tent. But this is the slimline tent. And for that tent, we need to mount independent. Sorry if that was long-winded, but, you know, that's just our opinion on it. And I think it's pretty important. So we cover it all. So with your awning, you'll get your like 310 long stainless steel bracket. This is folded, so it's very strong. This gets bolted down first onto your rack, load bar, headboard, whatever you got. Bolt this down first. Then the tent will sit over the top. And the tent will not sit on an angle because if we sit this here, the mounting rails on the tent, they're 830 mil apart, they're about here. So, and they sit up 20 mil. This is the 18 mil bracket. So therefore, your tent will sit over the top of this bracket. That is why on this model, we haven't recessed all the other tents to make the tents look flusher. We recessed the mounting rails into the base, but for this one, and the carbon fiber tents, we left the 20 mil rail down. Therefore, you can mount, without having to pack your tent up because it's kind of counterproductive, we left a 20 mil rail so you can clear the top of this. So this will get mounted down to your rack first, and then you can sit it right up next to your car like that. Right up next to your tent. You just got to be careful where your gas strut is, but you can pretty well sit it flush. So if you ever see any photos of these slim tents with an awning next to it, sometimes it's hard to see. So I think the common misconception is everyone thinks that the awning is always mounted to the tent, but it's not always the case. Like most of the time, you've just got this up so close next to the tent that it's actually mounted separate. So I think a few years ago, everyone was really obsessed with mounting to the tent. But you know, we've been trying to educate as we do these videos, and there is, you know, been a bit of a turn, and people putting a bit more thought into their setup. Like, yeah, it might cost you an extra couple hours, you know, to do it properly and mount this first. We've done a YouTube video on how to do it, but you're only going to install it once. It's you know, half a day out of your life. You're going to have this on for many years. So if you can do it properly, install it like this. You don't need any additional parts. This comes with the awning. It is the better job. So if you need more info on that, you need us to elaborate even further, obviously reach out, but these will come with the awning and it'll all clear and work nicely. When we've got the awning mounted against the tent, like we were just explaining, you're not going to be able to get your Rainfly pole in, and the simple fact is it's just going to be lower than your awning. So the solution we have for this, now if you buy our awning and our tent, we'll include 3 of these for you. If you have our tent and you're buying our awning later, please remind us and say, hey, I have your awning already. Please send some of these with the tent, or vice versa. I've got the tent, I need the awning, send some with the awning. So that's easy enough. 3 of these, and these are a pole relocation kit. The way these work is the awning generally sits beside the tent, and then this is a direct replacement for this stainless steel pole receiver. So we unwind these 2 bolts, and then we assemble this, this riser plate here. So this riser plate, I've already assembled one of the bolts. These are directional, so make sure we're putting them in the right way. So on this one, it goes in like that. So I actually have it backwards, but that was a 50-50 shot. I just threw it in there for the video, but yeah, we'll make do. So put that guy in there. These are the 16 mil bolts we were talking about. They have to be 16 mil, otherwise they just wouldn't make it through. We're going to tighten that up with our Allen key and spanner. And then with our Allen key, simply remove this entire setup. So I'll show you that now. Now you're probably not going to have a whole lot of use for this, to be honest. So I don't know, you can chuck it, you can keep it as a spare, whatever you want. But if you're putting this on, this is what's going to stay on there. Then we're going to get our 16 mil bolts, put them through like that. So once you've got that part bolted together, you'll have 6 of these little plates in the tent. You technically only need 3. You need 2 on the plus tent, but on this tent you just need 1. So this is just a spacer that goes in behind like that, and then that just spaces this riser plate off the side of that seal, so it doesn't grab on the way down. So put one spacer behind there, and then wind it in like this. Okay, so once you've got that on, we've come up 105 millimeters, that's our measurement. So on our pole that you have received, this is now technically too long. It's not an issue if you use it, it just makes the Rainfly a little bit dicky. So we need to trim this pole. So you've bought a rooftop tent, I assume you're a resourceful bunch. You own tools, or you know someone that does. And all we need to do is chop this pole right there. So if you use any sort of grinder or anything like that, someone, just chop this pole right above the bend, and that gets it back to the exact right measurement. Why don't we include 3 extra poles? Well, because you're just going to throw 3 poles in the bin, and then we're just adding a huge pile of landfill. So we figured if you could cut it, cool. That's probably easier as opposed to just throwing all these poles in the bin, and then you can just use the poles that you got. If you're not comfortable cutting it, you want to swing by, we'll cut it for you, no stress. All right, we'll pop this tent up now. I know we've all been waiting patiently for that. Straight off the bat though, just a little comparison compared to its predecessor. These are the latches that have been on here for the better part of 5 years. Like, as good as they are, they're just a little bit annoying. As you try and pop the tent, they fall down a bit. Whereas these new latches, the same ones that have been running on the other tents for a while, they actually just stay there. So if they ever stiffen up too much, you just hit them with a bit of silicone spray and they're freaking brand new again. But they're a little bit tighter, which just makes life so much easier. And it's just the little things when you're trying to put your tent up and down, it just makes it way easier. Okay. Popping the tent, we've got our fresh new handle, so also upgraded. Common theme of this video, everything's upgraded. Got our fancy Outback Tourer pull strap here. Turns out you have to buy 10,000 meters of it to put your logo on it. So you sell a few tents to make that worthwhile, but nothing but the best. Bungee cord goes down as per usual. I normally lock that guy in down there. You can put it wherever you want. That's just where I put it. And then lock it down on that side. Your Rainfly poles, they will be in this nice fancy little bag. That's just, if they get all wet and whatnot, you don't want them on your bedding, just chuck them in there. Ours are loose because they've been in the showroom. With these poles here, I normally find it easier to go in the bottom slot instead of the top slot first. They just bend out easier. If you want to do it the other way, it really doesn't matter. You just got to manipulate it a bit more. So I'll show you the other way. So if you're on the ground trying to do it and you hook this guy, that'll work your accuracy out trying to do that. If you're trying to stand on the ground and bloody grab that, but a bit of a game for you. So grab that, stick it in, and you can do it that way as well. So it really doesn't matter. I normally just pull this little skirt out too, because that's your little water diverter over the sail track. So it's not critical, but I just like to pull it out so it looks neat. Put that guy in there like that, and then straight up. And, they bend pretty far, so don't be too stressed about putting too much pressure on them. That's the last one over here. You can do them from inside the tent if you want as well. So with my setup, I normally do a variation from the ground and from inside the tent, but you'll work it out. I'll get a light on here and then we'll discuss what we're looking at. All right, so we've got both the new one and the old one popped up at the moment. Straight off the bat, we'll run the camera down here and show you, we've actually just reduced the size of this Rainfly a little bit and put a sharper angle on it. So we used to have a bigger Rainfly, obviously to keep more rain out, but we put a little bit of a sharper angle on it we've been just messing around over the years and just slowly tweaking it, and a little bit less wind resistance, being a bit of a sharper angle and a bit shorter, and you still keep the exact same amount of rain out. So if you look at this one from the side, it looks like one of those bloody big caps that you insert photo of big cap. So the new sleek one looks pretty bloody mint. Now, the best feature about this new one is we've used our new canvas on here. So this canvas doesn't have a polyurethane coating, or known as a PU coating. What is a PU coating? It is literally canvas and then polyurethane on the inside. So when you do a thinner canvas, you need to, or a cheaper quality canvas, so there's a polycotton canvas, there's an Oxford canvas, there's hex canvas. The good stuff has the ripstop squares. So second tier canvas is what we used to use, which is the ripstop stuff with the PU coating, still a great canvas. But one up from that, we've got a slightly thicker canvas. So this is a 350 GSM compared to our 320 GSM, but that 320 GSM also includes the polyurethane weight, whereas this is a 350 of just genuine canvas. So having no polyurethane coating on the inside means we're going to knock, it's around like 95% of condensation. I wouldn't say an issue, but it's just something that happens when camping in winter. Like it's a property of all rooftop tents. The bigger tents, the X tents, the Z tents, the 1.5s, they got way more surface area inside, so they breathe a lot better, a lot more ventilation. But your standard clamshells, you're getting the least amount of air inside because of the tent. So having an actual breathable canvas, because guys, polyurethane isn't breathable, it is a plastic. Whereas having a genuine canvas that has no coating on the inside, your tent can breathe. So you're going to get next to no condensation. You're going to get little bits and pieces of any metal edges, but it's going to be super minimal compared to, you see those videos, people waking up in, and it's commonly just smaller tents. Like in our Z tent, we still use the PU coated stuff because it's a big surface area and it works well. But in these smaller tents, it's literally half the amount of area. So, each person will breathe out 500 milliliters of water per night. That has to go somewhere. It goes on the walls. You see videos of people like dragging their hands down and it's all wet. It's because they aren't breathing. But small area tent using the 350 GSM genuine canvas, it's not going to do that. It will breathe, and the temperature discrepancy between outside and inside, it won't be so drastic because it actually breathes. So this canvas will also keep you warmer in winter and cooler in summer, again, because it actually breathes. We've got bigger windows. If you compare the windows on the new tent versus the old tent, they're actually about 20% bigger. So again, more airflow. On the top, if you look up through there, we'll throw the camera in there. We've also got a breathable window. So when you are in there, all the hot air rises and it can make its way outside of the tent. So that works really well. So on this new tent, we've even changed the ladder. So there's a couple of different places we can get ladders from. And after a fair bit of testing, this was the best place. We had the least amount of phone calls about it. And just from use, it goes up and down a lot better than the previous version. So we've changed all ladders to this style. So even the ladders change, guys. Another cool feature, you've always got 2 shoe bags with the standard 1.2, 1.4. You still get 2 shoe bags, but the best part of this one is the way we used to have to do the shoe bags is we would rivet a sail track to the back of the tent. That's great until you have a car where you need to put the shoe bags on the side. So like a wagon, for example, you're not getting up through the back because your spare tire. So the way we've done this new base extrusion, we've included a sail track the whole way around. So this is actually in the corner molds. We've done a keyway for the sail track to go through on the bag. And then also on the side extrusion, there's a sail track. So just little things, feedback from people, especially wagon owners, they can't get the shoe bags on the side, so we made that easy to do. And then you can also use the hooks on the bags and you can throw them on the ladder hooks as well. So just little things that make using this tent a lot easier. So in the 1.2, 1.4, we have now a memory foam mattress. The the feedback we've got on memory foam mattresses has just been incredible. So we just thought it made sense to change these tents to a memory foam mattress. They are a little heavier than the standard high density, but you know, it's still a relatively light tent, so we thought we would put it in. How to tell if you've got a genuine memory foam mattress? Again, unregulated industry. Every tent supplier says, yeah, we got memory foam, and half the time they don't. If you push down on a mattress like that, and it stays created in like that, compared to over here, I'll show you this one. This was on the other 1.2, 1.4, push it down, springs straight back. So that is a high density mattress, although quite comfortable, nowhere near as comfortable as the memory foam. The light inside the tent is now like our plus tents and X pluses. It is a dual color light compared to the original single light color. So this is also dimmable as well. Dimmable light, change colors. You're honestly probably never going to use it on the white setting, although for this photo shoot it does work really well because you can see in here a lot better. We've changed the roof. Had a lot of comments over the years that the white felt like people are inside a coffin. So not something you always want to feel when you're in your 20s or 30s, 50s. You don't want to be laying in a coffin. So we changed that quick smart and put the same blue design, this like navy sort of dark blue that we've had in the rest of the tents. And again, reason we didn't change it is because, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've been working in the background on this model for 3 years and we knew eventually we'd change it, but you know, the white served us well. We've got our pockets inside as well as the storage pockets on top. This is now on a bungee, so you can store your jackets behind it rather than the old pocket where it's just riveted into the roof. It also means if you ever rip a pocket or something, we can just poster out a new one rather than having to get a drill out and then remove the pockets that are on the roof. All the joins are seam sealed. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. There's a few little secrets there on how we do everything with this non-coated canvas. So just know that it's all seam sealed properly, and you don't have to season anything. So when you pull this bad boy out the box, you can go camping straight away. Don't have to season anything. We've got YKK zips on all the doors, so we did do a run of SBS. They were okay. We just found that when comparing to YKK, you know, there's a lot of hype around YKK, so you're always skeptical. Is it just the brand? Is it like the water bottle everyone buys, which isn't actually very good? We all know it starts with a Y compared to like a normal water bottle. Anyway, off topic. Freaking hate that water bottle, man. Kmart one's way better. But yeah, the YKK is yeah, way less phone calls, way better. And we've just been running them for ever since, and they're just freaking rip. They're awesome. All the windows, they got coverings on them, so you're not going to get any water through the zips. The mesh, this is upgraded now as well. So this is the same stuff we've been using on most of the tents now as well. This is the cut-proof mesh. So it's a midgie-proof mesh, but it's also way stronger than just your standard mesh on normal tents. The doors, I'll just show you this canvas. If you've seen any of our other videos, you'll see how bloody obsessed with this canvas I am. But this stuff, like, you can tell this is real canvas. It's not, if you do this with like so this is like an Oxford canvas, so this is what, some people are making tents out of this, believe it or not. We would only ever make our accessory bags out of this stuff. Not even our chairs are made out of this stuff. And we got other people saying, oh, we make our tents out of a 420 GSM 600 G. It means nothing. You've made it out of this. Let's not talk about it. This is proper canvas. It doesn't have a PU coating on the inside. You're not going to get condensation. And you can just see, you can hear it. It sounds like actual canvas. It doesn't sound like a plastic bag inside a lid. Good stuff, guys. So under this mattress, we've got our condensation mat. Now this is all hemmed nicely, not just cut rough as. We've got a ripstop on the bottom of the mattress even, and this is a washable mattress cover. So I don't know what you get up to in this bloody tent, but every now and then we get a question saying, can I wash my mattress cover? I just say less. Yes, you can. Unzip it, all good. So you can wash that bad boy. So the base has got these big M8 bolts to go the whole way through. They've got a captive nut on the top. So captive bolt head. That way you're not going to feel any bolt head or anything through the mattress. So that's another cool thing we do. The base, of course, all aluminium, all fully sealed, and we do run the marine carpet around the edges just to minimize the amount of exposed metal edges inside the tent. So in this back corner, we've got the 12-volt hub of the entire tent. It's got a switch on it. Then we've got a cigarette socket. We've got a USB-C, USB-A section with a little voltmeter so you can monitor your battery health. And then we've got a double USB. The lights in the tent, just for this display purpose, we've got them plugged into a power bank. So if you don't have your 12-volt setup already connected on your car, you can just run them into a power bank like we have today. Otherwise, if you plug them into the power box section, you've still got 2 free USB-As and a USB-C and the cigarette. So heaps of power in there. There is a fuse underneath it just to make sure we're all sorted. So that's a 10 amp inline glass fuse under there. So everything's all serviceable. It's not riveted to the base, it's screwed to the base. So if you ever need to get to that thing, you can get to it easily. This is something that we've had on our tents from the very start. Now this is a really good way to assemble rooftop tents. We've got a zipper on the inside. And what that zipper does is it essentially holds the canvas to the shell. So if you ever broke a zip, we've had it before where someone's had an emergency, they've shut their tent wet and they had to jump on a plane for 3 weeks, leave their car at the airport. The tent was like obviously all molded up on the inside. When they got back, we could open the tent up, we could zip the entire canvas out, and it's just a bin job. You just throw it out, and then you can put a whole new canvas inside. So even if you're doing a big trip, you're on the road for a couple of years, and things start to wear out, if you're using it, living out of it every single day, when you come back from a trip, you can just simply put a new canvas in it, and you have a brand new tent again. Even if you want to freshen it up for resale, it's something to always consider. And changing that, when you used to change the canvas in the original 1.2, 1.4, you needed to actually split the shell in half, and you needed a drill, 5mm bit, and you needed 12 rivets. So you needed a power tool, whereas now you can change this entire canvas without having to do any of that. You can leave the shell completely intact, unzip it all, and it all slides out from the corner. We obviously have a video on that. So it just means minimal tools at all. You can service the entire tent. Like you can literally strip this tent down and all you need is a 5mm Allen key and a 30mm spanner. So that's pretty cool. Whichever path you take, whichever corner of this country you're on, you can service your whole tent, and we respond 7 days a week. So if you're ever in trouble, you would get a response on that day up until around 9 p.m. every single night. Doesn't matter if it's New Year's, Christmas, you'll get a response if you're in trouble. So it's good to know this whole thing is serviceable, and then we've got the knowledge behind the product to be able to provide the solution for you. All right, we're up to probably my favorite feature out of this entire tent. So if you've ever owned one of our original 1.2, 1.4s, you'll know they can be a little bit tricky to pack up. They're fine, it just takes a little bit more time, and we normally suggest we were putting an Oki strap through the doors and looping it back to itself through here to make it tuck in easier. So on this new tent, we put the Oki strap feature inside with two little rings on there, so you can, it helps pull it in. But for this demonstration, we're not even going to use that because it's that much easier. So the reason you're going to see this tent packs up a lot quicker than the old one is because this extrusion is actually wider and the canvas is thicker, so it doesn't want to blow out as much. So for this demonstration, I'm going to have Michael come and pack up the old tent next to me, and I'll pack up the new tent, and I'll show you all canvas tucked in, just how much quicker it is. So we'll run that now. So we're not racing, we're just, as you would normally. He's even got one less Rainfly pole in, so. So while he's still doing his, that's me completely done, and I haven't had to walk around the tent at all. I've done this all from the back, whereas Michael's had to go back and forth. The other side still isn't done. If we look, he's done a good job on this side, so that's good, but we still haven't even finished one entire side, and he's had to go. So you imagine you were on the back of your vehicle, you've now had to go down your ladder and go back and forth. You've had to go from the back of your vehicle, down the ladder, back and forth, back and do everything from the back. It just packs up so much easier, it's not even funny. All right, so I just come and inspected Michael's work. We've still got half the tent hanging out. So if we were to leave that like that, we're gonna have a water issue. Whereas my tent over here, the revised version, is all completely packed up. We've also had a mishap with the latch. This is what I was explaining at the start of the video. This latch has fallen down because they don't hold themselves up, and then we've now jammed it. So we would have to undo this and dislodge this latch to try again. So all I'm trying to show here.
You've done that one?
Oh, and I've just, yeah, I've just done the same thing on this one. So yeah, look, it's not the end of the world, but compared to the new design, you can see why we spent so much time and we were just like, you know, like, to be fair, I still run this tent and it's fine. I just take my time with it. But if you're in a rush, for the average person who doesn't do this every single day, the new tent is just freaking out of this world in comparison. All right, last thing to talk about here, we are obviously on a different tent over here, but the Anderson plug's right here, so it's a bit easy to demo. If you're wondering where the Anderson plug is on the 1.2, 1.4, it is at the hinge side of the tent on the driver side. So hinge side, driver side. But all we need to talk about here is what to do with this. And all we need to do with this is, like you're plugging in any 12 volt accessory like a fridge, you're just going from your battery source, run a lead up to the Anderson plug. So it has a 10 amp fuse inside under the power box like we explained before, but it is good practice just to fuse it at your power source as well. Just put an inline 10 amp fuse there as well. If you try it, run 18 heated blankets at once, you're probably going to blow the fuse. So just check how much current am I pulling, read the back of the bloody label, and then you're never going to blow the fuse. But, you know, good to always fuse everything anyway. The solar panel cables, that is completely separate to this. Please, for the love of God, do not plug it into here. We'll just leave that there. So solar panel cables, they get run, they're the MC4s. So from BCF or super cheap, hardcore, or hit up Roam Gear, they make like a 3 meter cable that goes from MC4s to Anderson plug. That runs independently down into your battery through a regulator. So that panel is unregulated. So we want to bring as much power all the way down to our charger as possible. So we're not regulating it up top. We're going to use a high quality regulator down at our power source, and everyone has a different budget. So that's why we just leave the regulator up to you. I know the Victron gear works really well with their own panels. A bit cheaper than the Red Arc stuff as well. So that's a good option for everyone. But most people these days, they have a power box and they've got some sort of solar inlet plug already, or they've got a charger sort of set up. So you run that independently and then run another cable up to the tent, and that powers that. So if you're unsure on how to do any of that, I would just leave it to the professionals, and I would reach out to an auto electrician and just have them handle that part of the journey. All right, this is the mounting section. If you've watched these videos before, you already know what's up, but if it's your first time here, hello, I'm gonna do some mounting. All right, so you've got an aluminium extrusion where the 14mm bolt goes into. Super simple stuff. You've got 8 of these. You actually have 10 in case you do what I'm about to tell you. If you use these are a stainless steel thread, M8 thread. These are a stainless steel nut. We use stainless steel fixings because we don't want these bad boys to rust. If they rust, you're getting a expecto delito tent off your roof, sir. So stainless steel, we don't want any rust. But the kicker with stainless steel is the heat. As the thread goes up, as the nut goes up, it gets hot. And if it gets hot, it binds up. So we have to use this little thing called anti-seize. Now, we specify this everywhere. So if you haven't seen it, now you know. Use anti-seize. And what that is, it is a lubricant. It's about $10. You can buy it from super cheap, Bunnings. You can even buy it cheaper in a small tube. But if you buy the big tube for $10, super cheap, copper, zinc, whatever, it'll last you a lifetime. You're not going to use it very often. But in this instance, we do need to use it. So all we need to do is put some anti-seize on our finger, or use the one with the squeezy nozzle, whatever you want. Run it up the thread, and we're never going to have any problems. If you're in a rush, you can just use WD-40, but you need to WD-40 it when you take it back off. One time at a trade show, we had nothing and we did not want to risk it because there is, believe me, no freaking biscuit at the end of doing this without anti-seize. We actually used sunscreen, so just literally anything you got, some sort of lube for the bolts. Anyway, that said, so what we need to do is slide these in like so. So they go in like that, and then it's pretty bloody simple. You got a clamp, you stick it underneath, and then you put that through, and then you just put a nut and washer on the bottom. So it goes clamp like that. We're going to put our anti-seize on because we're sensible, and then you're literally just going to tighten that up. Now you don't have to go crazy. Normally when we do it, we just sort of go until you get like, you'll just see this starting to bend a little bit. Once it bends a little bit, it's not going to go anywhere. Obviously, like anything, drive around, do a few hundred Ks, check it, keep the 13mm in your card, door card, and then just check it's tight. Spacing, so anywhere from 850 to 1600 apart. So 850 center to center of your bars, 1600 max. Then we don't want to have any more than 500mm overhang. So say these are your two bars here and here. We can mount it at 1600, but we don't want to have any more than 500mm unsupported on either side. You can have 500 in the middle, but not on the ends. So if you need clarity on that, reach out, send photos of your setup. We'll make sure it works for you. If you're bolting through a canopy, then we would just probably be using 6 of these instead of 8, and you'd be drilling a hole through the canopy, preferably through some sort of support, and dropping it through like a bit of box section and using a nice big washer underneath. Tighten that up. And that's about as far as it goes. We definitely don't recommend removing the mounting rails. The tents are all engineered to span across them. If you're ever in some sort of crash, we need to disperse the weight of the tent through the mounting rails. So it is advised to leave them on there for a bunch of reasons. It also spaces the tent up for your awning bracket. So multi-purpose, leave them on there. And that's about it in regards to mounting. Michael's just like to me, do you need to talk about minimum spacings and overhang? He's just sitting behind the camera. He's heard this probably like 83 times. Plus he edits it, so then has to listen to this same speech like at least 12 times while editing it. But yeah, definitely covered, Michael. Last thing though, this black thing. This is not that black thing, this black thing. This goes in the end of the mounting channel, just like that. And honestly, it's not going to stop wind or anything. If you've got wind noise, it's definitely something else like your roof rack. But it's just a little dress piece. It looks nice, so it stops water going up through there, all through your fixings. But that's all that is. If you mount this right at the end, you're not going to be able to push it in there. But honestly, it doesn't matter. So that's what that is if you're wondering. All right, that pretty much brings us to the end of this walkthrough comparison video for the 1.2, 1.4. I know this was a long one, but like I said, this has been personally a 3-year journey just trying to improve this original tent. So there was a fair bit to cover there. I wanted to take a step back in time and compare to the original tent and how we actually got here. This isn't just an off-the-shelf tent. Like, you can't just buy this and put labels on it and whatever. Like, this is a full custom built to our specs. Every single part of it has been changed from our original model, which we've already covered. So buying this, you're getting incredible value. You're buying it from a team that really gives a damn, and we answer messages, like I said, 7 days a week. So if you choose Outback Tour, you're choosing a company who's going to back you and look after you for many years to come. So everyone, enjoy your tents. If you have any questions, as always, reach out and we're here for it. Cheers.